Hello, my name's Della Joanne McGinnis, and this is a story called A Grandmother's Tale. A Grandmother's Tale is compiled family history, names, some with stories, others just facts. A history of a nation seen through the eyes of people from different walks of life, from England, Scotland, Ireland, and America. For some, they gave their life for the service of God and Goddess, spreading the name of the Bible and the pagan ways to all who would listen, raising their children along the way. For others, they lived their lives in a different style of life, the way of the gun, forced to fight for a way of life they believed in to settle a harsh land for the chance of freedom. A scribe called this generation, that's me, a history lost, now found, endless days on a trail of a name. That name has a story, the story has a beginning. In that state and what country did that story start? In what era did they live? The birth of a name, life of a family, death of a person recalled in the nooks and crannies of a nation's beginnings. It's up to you to add flesh to their story, to form and shape that name into the person that owned that name. Gather the facts, whether true or fiction, weed out the indifferences, and make them live again. The storytellers, we are the chosen ones. My feelings are that in each family there is one who seems called to find the ancestors, to put flesh on their bones and make them live again, to tell the family story and to feel that somehow they know and approve. To me, doing genealogy is not a cold gathering of facts, but instead breathing life into all who have gone before. We are the storytellers of the tribe. All tribes have one. We have been called, as it were, by our gens. Those who have gone before cry out to us, tell our story. So we do. In finding them, we somehow find ourselves. How many graves have I stood before and cried? I have lost count. How many times have I told the ancestors, you have a wonderful family. You would be proud of us. How many times have I walked up to a grave and felt somehow there was love there for me? I cannot say. It goes beyond just documenting facts. It goes to who am I and why do I do the things I do. It goes to seeing a cemetery about to be lost forever to weeds and indifferences and saying, I can't let this happen. The bones are here, bones of my bones and flesh of my flesh. It goes to doing something about it. It goes to pride in what our ancestors were able to accomplish, how they contributed to what we are today. It goes to respecting their hardships and losses. They're never giving in or giving up. Their relentlessness to go on and build a life for their family. So, as a scribe called, I tell the story of my family. It is up to that one called in the next generation to answer the call and take their place in the long line of family storytellers. That is why I do my family genealogy, and that is what calls those young and old to step up and put flesh on the bones. Now, this little poem was first written in 1946 by my grandmother and rewritten by me. Grandma, I hope I didn't mess it up, but in loving memory to grandmother Della M. Cummings Wright. I love you, Grandma. Now, about the Wright family tree. Glenn Wright, grandson of Isom, wrote, "One thing I'm sure that you already know, but wanted to mention, just in case you didn't. My dad has always told me about how quick Uncle Jack was. He is always telling of him going to the old circus or county fair where there was a boxing champion there that took on all comers, and Uncle Jack stepping up to the challenge. Dad said that Uncle Jack was so quick that the champion never touched him." Another thing I noticed about Uncle Jack was that he looked an awful lot like my grandpa Isom Wright. To my knowledge, they were the only full-blooded brothers. Mom said something about them being of Indian blood. Yes, they were Cherokee. There were 3 more daughters. I do not have their names. James and Lim were the only 2 boys that I know of. I met Lim in Dunlap, Kansas in 1975. He was there from Columbus, Missouri, and he and his nephew Isom and Isom's son Jack and Jack's wife Ruby, Jack and Ruby's 2 boys, son Glenn and Gal, grandfather's half-brother Roy and Lige, came to Dunlap to see grandfather Elisha Jack, whom was starting to be very sick with cancer. That January we lost him and buried grandfather in Dunlap, Kansas. Children of James Wright and Mary Pruitt are Elisha Jack Wright, born January 24th of 1892, died in 1976 at Dunlap, Kansas. Isom Wright was born in 1888. My Indian line is with my grandfather, Elisha Jack Wright, and my grandmother, Della Maxine Cummings, and his brother, Isom Wright. Their mother died in childbirth with their 3rd son. The child also died. After the death of Mary Ann Pruitt in 1895, James Thomas remarried. He married Dorothy Moore in 1897 or 1898. We have not been able to find any information on them. We have on James Thomas and Dorothy Moore told the census taker of Missouri. There were no one of American Indian blood within her family. It was told to me by my grandfather he was a descendant of Sitting Bull. He and his brother were of the reservation in Missouri from a place called the Devil's Promenade, and his family had sit at many a council fires with Sitting Bull. We have not found anything on Mary Ann Pruitt, whom grandfather claimed to be full-blooded Cherokee. My grandfather, James was claimed to be a full-blooded. My grandfather was born January 1892 and died January 1977. After the death of Mary in 1895, Isom and Jack went to live with their grandmother. Jack Wright married my grandmother, Della M. Cummings. He was over 35 years old. When he talked of his childhood, he told he was a descendant of Sitting Bull. Children of James Wright and Margaret Moore are Ella Mae Wright, Thelma Wright, Dolly Wright, Elsie Wright, Roy Wright, and Lige Wright. The towns of the Cherokee were usually located near the mouth of a small creek. Just a few little fact of Cherokee history, where clear water could be obtained. The towns were protected from enemies by stockade-like structures. The towns lay on one side of the river. The stockades were built of posts spaced about 6 or 8 inches apart, and the spaces filled in with saplings and cane. This kind of stockade represented the type used after the Indians obtained guns from the white man, which made it necessary to place the post as close as possible to ward off bullets. Council houses were always built on a level place near a stream so the people could take their ceremonial cold plunges during or after ceremonies. The council house would hold about 500 people and was the most important building in the town. Ordinary persons and women could not attend the council, but each clan was represented at the council. The 7 clans of Cherokee wore. Okay, I cannot pronounce the Indian names on these, but it's Aniwadi, known as the Paint Clan. 2, Anigategewi, the Raccoon or Blind, Shawnee of the Wild Potato Clan. Number 3 is Sahoni, the Blue Panther or Wildcat Clan. 4, Anigilohi, long hair or hair hanging down, Wind Clan. 5 was Anitsiskwa, the Bird Clan. Aniwohiya, the Wolf Clan. Aniawi, the Deer Clan. Cherokee is in ancient times wore feathers of different colors to indicate their clan memberships. Okay, just a small little footnote here. Grandfather Jack is not a descendant of Sitting Bull. His ancestry is from Laughing Wolf of the Cherokee Nation. He grew up in Joplin, Missouri, along a stretch of road known as the Devil's Promenade. Here's a little history from the place where he grew up. In loving memory, Grandpa Jack, we love and miss you. Bobbing and bouncing along a dirt road in northeast Oklahoma is the Hornet Spooklight, a paranormal enigma for more than a century, described most often as an orange ball of light. The orb travels from east to west along a 4-mile gravel road, long called the Devil's Promenade by area locals. This is where Grandfather Jack grew up. The Spooklight, often referred to as the Joplin Spooklight or the Tri-State Spooklight, is actually in Oklahoma, near the small town of Quapaw, Quapaw. However, it is most often seen from the east, which is why it has been attached to the tiny hamlet of Hornet, Missouri, and the larger, better-known town of Joplin. According to the legend, the Spooklight was first seen by Indians along the infamous Trail of Tears in 1836. However, the first official report occurred in 1881 in a publication called the Ozark Spooklight. The ball of fire, described as varying from size of a basketball to a basketball, dances and spins down the center of the road at high speeds, rising and hovering above the treetops. Before it returns and disappears, others have said it sways from side to side, like a lantern being carried by some invisible force. In any event, the orange firelight ball has reportedly been appearing nightly for well over 100 years, according to locals. The best time to view the Spooklight is between the hours of 10 p.m. and midnight, and tends to shy away from the larger groups and loud sounds. Though many paranormal and scientific investigators have studied the light, including the Army Corps of Engineers, no one has been able to provide a conclusive answer as to the origins of the light. Many explains have been presented over the years, including escaping natural gas, reflecting car lights, and billboards, and will-o'-the-wisp, a luminous created by rotting organic matter. However, all of these explanations all fall short of being conclusive. As the theory of escaping natural gas, which is common in many areas, the Hornet light is seemingly not affected by wind or by rain. And how would it self-ignite? The idea that it might be a will-o'-the-wisp is discounted, as this biological paranormal does not display the intensity of the ball of light seen along the Devil's Promenade. Explanations of headlights or billboards are especially discarded, as the light was seen years before automobiles or billboards were made, and before a road even existed in the area. One possible explanation that is not as easily discounted, but not yet proven conclusive, is that the lights are electrical charges in areas where rocks deep below the Earth's surface are shifting and grinding. An electrical charge can be created. This area, lying on a fault line running east from New Madrid, Missouri, westward to Oklahoma, was the site of 4 earthquakes during the 18th century. These types of electrical fields are most commonly associated with earthquakes. Other interesting legends also abound about the light that provided a more ghostly explanation. The oldest is the story of a Quapaw Indian maiden who fell in love with a young brave. However, her father would not allow her to marry the man, as he did not have a large enough dowry. The pair eloped, but were soon pursued by a party of warriors. According to the legend, when the couple was close to being apprehended, they joined hands above the spring river and leaped to their deaths. It was shortly after this event that the lights began to appear, and was attributed to the spirits of the young lovers. And also, a little fact, this is the legend that sparked the song Running Bear. Another legend tells of a miner whose cabin was attacked by Indians while he was away. Upon his return, he found his wife and children missing, and is said to continually looking for them along the old road, stretching with his lantern. Others say the Spooklight is the ghost of an Osage Indian chief who was decapitated in the area and continues to search for his lost head with a lantern held high in his hand. Sightings of the Spooklight are common, sometimes even reported to be seen inside vehicles. A few people who have been walking along the road at night have even claimed to have felt the heat of the ball as it passed near them. Reportedly, the moving anomaly, growing brighter and brighter, larger and smaller, can be seen approximately 12 miles southwest of Joplin, Missouri. To get to the Devil's Promenade Road, take Interstate 44 west from Joplin. But before you reach the Oklahoma border, take the next to the last Missouri exit onto Star Route 43, traveling south for about 4 miles. You will reach a crossroads, which is Devil's Promenade Road. And that is the story that I grew up with from Grandpa Jack. In loving memory, Grandpa, we love you.